Hey party people, I'm Pastor Lia Scholl from Wake Forest Baptist Church here in beautiful Winston-Salem. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time with me. We're in the midst of a sermon series called Unraveled, Seeking God When Our Plans Unravel, and today's sermon is called Unraveling Vocation, also titled The Great Resignation. So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You've probably heard about the Great Resignation, haven't you? The reports say folks are leaving their jobs and careers in droves, with the figure approaching 3.9 million in July, after a brisk quitting in April when more than 5 million people quit their jobs. Some articles say that 95% of employees are considering leaving their jobs. The news reports are billing it as the Great Resignation. But Fast Company says that it may not be as dire as all of that. Those folks who quit in April may have been waiting out the end of the pandemic when it became sort of safe to change jobs. And those 95% considering leaving their jobs, well, let's just face it, considering is not the same as leaving. But it is true that something is going on. Some trend is changing the employment landscape. Scott Dust, at Fast Company, says that it seems that people are changing their workplaces, but for different reasons than pre-pandemic. He says that the reasons are most likely to cause someone to seek a new job are financial need, work-home balance, and remote work policies. What's new about this? Dust says that the fact that employees are putting just as much value on work-home balance and remote work policies is key here. In other words, though, he sees it as a great reprioritization. People are not, as in the past, quitting their jobs because of stagnation or a desire for more autonomy, nor because of a lack of growth opportunities or a sense of belonging like in the past. Instead, they are prioritizing work-home balance and flexibility. A great reprioritization. Isn't that what Zacchaeus had? You know the story. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see. I'm sure I've got that wrong somehow. But Zacchaeus goes up into a sycamore tree to wait until Jesus passes by, and when Jesus crosses his path, Jesus turns, looks up at Zacchaeus and says, "Zacchaeus, come down from the tree. I'm going to have dinner with you tonight." And in that moment, Zacchaeus, having met the Lord, being accepted by the Lord, something in that moment made him say, "I'm going to give half of all that I have as a tax collector to the poor, and I'm going to repay at 4 times the amount that I took the people from whom I stole money." If you really think about that, that really is a reprioritization, though. A tax collector is a notorious profession. I'll need to remind you that they're not IRS agents, but they're more like pirates, collecting well more than the government required and keeping much of it in their own pockets. And you know as well as I do that he did a calculation in that math that giving away half of his wealth to the poor, plus 4 times as much back to folks who he's cheated, it may be that Zacchaeus is giving away all of his money. Like Jesus said to the rich young ruler, "Sell all you have and give it to the poor." That is a great reprioritization, isn't it? And Jesus responds, salvation or wholeness has come to this home today. Aren't we all seeking a sense of wholeness? Isn't that what the great reprioritization is all about? I wonder if wholeness in our time has less to do with being the robber barons of the world and much more to do with time management. And not time management in the I need a new day timer or a bullet journal kind of way, but time management in the way of my list of things to do is longer than the amount of time I may have in my lifetime kind of way. Or in the I only have a finite amount of time on this earth and I do not want to spend it on a commute kind of way. Or even in the my self-worth is tied up in how productive I can be and I never feel like I have done enough kind of way. How has what we were doing before the pandemic left us unwhole? So many of my peers would say that pre-pandemic they didn't have time to do all the things they needed to do. For instance, exercise is important, but in order to exercise, they needed to miss out on sleep. Pre-pandemic, people didn't have time to see their family that they lived with, much less seeing their extended family. Y'all, late-stage capitalism has outsized work, but not just work. It's also the expectations that we have of fun, of play, of hobbies, of projects, of cleaning the house, of taking care of all the infernal details of our modern life. We never get ahead of a list of the things to do, much less even rest. How can we be whole with no Sabbath, no time, no rest, no quiet, even no boredom? That would be a great reprioritization. I wonder how many of you right now are considering changing your work-home balance. As you think about this great reprioritization, have you considered what Jesus might say to you right now? I mean, seriously, he'd probably still say to all of us, sell all you have and give it to the poor. But we know we don't have that kind of strength. And if you are thinking about a great reprioritization, may I suggest the new book, 4,000 Weeks, which is subtitled Time Management for Mortals. The basis for the book is that all of life is about time management, that we only get about 4,000 weeks on this planet, and every moment we're deciding how to use them. The author says, the world also seems to be heading to hell in a handcart. Our civic life has gone insane, a pandemic has paralyzed society, and the planet is getting hotter and hotter. But good luck finding a time management system that makes any room for engaging productively with your fellow citizens, with current events, or with the fate of the environment. And depressingly enough, the book begins with a deep dive into the recognition that we don't have that much time here. The author says productivity is a trap. Becoming more efficient just makes you more rushed, and trying to clear the decks simply makes them fill up again faster. Nobody in the history of humanity has ever achieved work-life balance, whatever that might be. And thinking that we're going to master time is part of the problem. Again, the author says, there is an alternative. The unfashionable but powerful notion of letting time use you. Approaching life not as an opportunity to implement your predetermined plans for success, but as a matter of responding to the needs of your place and your moment in history. That's what I want. That is a great reprioritization. So I wonder, can we bring our hearts to Jesus and say, I'm willing to try a great reprioritization? I'm willing to allow your love to guide me in this work. Maybe it will mean a change in job, or maybe it will mean learning to say no to the outlandish demands our jobs put on the rest of our lives. Maybe it will mean a change in our financial lives and lead us into being more generous with others who need it. Maybe it will mean more rest, more getting together with loved ones, more practicing care for those around us. Folks, I can never talk about vocation without remembering the theologian Frederick Buechner, his own definition of vocation as the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. I wonder, when you look at your priorities, are you there? And if not, can this moment in time help you lean into a great reprioritization? It's my prayer that it can. I love you, and I love being your pastor.